In today's top stories, four FEMA employees have been fired for unlawfully approving a $59 million migrant housing payment to New York City, sparking outrage from DHS and the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. President Donald Trump is set to withhold U.S. aid to Jordan and Egypt after both nations refuse to support a Gaza development plan. In Paris, U.S. Senator J.D. Vance will deliver the keynote speech at the AI summit, reinforcing the U.S. stance on artificial intelligence and its regulations. A tragic aviation incident occurred at Scottsdale Airport where two jets collided mid-air, leading to an emergency response. In domestic policy, Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered an immediate pause on gender-affirming medical care in federally funded hospitals. In Indian news, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's upcoming US visit will focus on visa policies and deportation concerns affecting Indian workers. Priyanka Gandhi has criticized Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman over inflation and rising unemployment, intensifying political debates. The Maha Kumbh has witnessed record-breaking crowds, with authorities ensuring smooth arrangements for millions of pilgrims. In sports, Indian fast bowler Jasprit Bumrah has suffered an injury, raising doubts about his availability for the Champions Trophy. Internationally, Gaza ceasefire at risk as Netanyahu issues ultimatum. Four Federal Emergency Management Agency FEMA employees have been fired for approving an unauthorized $59 million payment to house migrants in luxury hotels in New York City. The Department of Homeland Security, DHS, confirmed the dismissal, stating that the employees bypassed leadership to greenlight the controversial payment. Those fired include FEMA's chief financial officer, two program analysts, and a grant specialist. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem emphasized that the administration would not tolerate actions that undermine the government's fiscal policies. The payment was exposed by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, which flagged it as an example of mismanagement. The scandal has fueled criticism of federal spending on immigration, with opponents calling for stricter oversight. President Donald Trump has announced that the U.S. will withhold financial aid to Jordan and Egypt after both countries rejected a U.S.-backed plan for the development of Gaza. The initiative aimed to provide humanitarian aid and infrastructure projects for Gaza, but was met with resistance from regional leaders. Trump accused Jordan and Egypt of obstructing peace efforts and failing to support a stable future for Palestinians. The move could significantly impact bilateral relations, as both nations rely heavily on U.S. aid for military and economic assistance. Critics argue that cutting aid could further destabilize the region, while supporters believe it will pressure Middle Eastern allies to align with U.S. policies. U.S. Senator J.D. Vance delivered the keynote address at the Paris AI summit, highlighting the national security risks and economic impact of artificial intelligence. In his speech, Vance emphasized the need for ethical AI regulations, particularly regarding deepfake technology, government surveillance, and job displacement. He called for greater oversight on AI's role in federal decision-making, warning against unchecked automation in critical sectors. The summit brought together global policymakers, tech leaders, and researchers to discuss AI governance and cooperation. The US and European nations are pushing for stricter AI policies, with Vance advocating for an approach that prioritizes security, accountability, and economic stability. His remarks are expected to influence ongoing debates on AI regulation worldwide. Aviation authorities are investigating a mid-air collision between two jets at Scottsdale Airport in Arizona. The incident occurred during takeoff when one aircraft clipped another, leading to a fiery crash. Emergency responders rushed to the scene, extinguishing the flames and evacuating survivors. Initial reports indicate that multiple people were injured, though the extent of the casualties is unclear. The FAA and NTSB are conducting an investigation into the cause of the collision, with early indications pointing to a possible miscommunication between air traffic controls and pilots. Veterans Affairs Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered an immediate pause on gender affirming medical care in federally funded hospitals. The directive halts surgeries and hormone treatments for transgender individuals, while the administration reviews policies on gender related health care. Hegseth cited concerns over medical ethics and taxpayer funding, stating that a more thorough evaluation of long term effects is needed. Advocacy groups have condemned the decision, calling it a violation of transgender rights, while conservative lawmakers have praised it as a necessary review of federal healthcare spending. In Indian news, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's upcoming visit to the US will focus on issues related to H-1B visa policies and deportation concerns affecting Indian workers. With stricter immigration enforcement under President Trump, Indian professionals and students in the US face uncertainty over work permits and visa renewals. Modi is expected to advocate for more flexible visa regulations and long term residency options for skilled Indian workers. The visit will also include discussions on economic partnerships and defense collaboration between the two nations. Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi has sharply criticized Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, blaming the government for failing to control inflation and rising unemployment. Gandhi accused the BJP led government of prioritizing corporate interests over the needs of ordinary citizens. Sitharaman defended the administration's economic policies, arguing that inflation is under control and job creation is improving. The political confrontation has fueled debates ahead of upcoming elections, with the opposition using economic issues as a key attack point. The Maha Kumbh in Prayagraj has witnessed record-breaking crowds, with millions of pilgrims arriving for the sacred bathing rituals. Authorities have implemented strict crowd control measures, enhanced medical facilities, and transportation services to accommodate the surge. The festival, considered one of the largest religious gatherings in the world, has drawn devotees from across India and abroad. Despite logistical challenges, officials have reported smooth operations so far, with security forces ensuring the safety of attendees. Indian fast bowler Jasprit Bumrah has suffered an injury, casting doubt over his participation in the upcoming Champions Trophy. Bumrah, who recently made a strong comeback after a previous injury, is undergoing medical assessment to determine the severity of the issue. Team management is monitoring his progress closely, as his absence would be a significant setback for India's bowling attack. Cricket fans and analysts are hopeful that he will recover in time for the tournament, but a final decision will be made based on his rehabilitation progress. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned on Tuesday that the ceasefire agreement in Gaza will end if Hamas does not release hostages by Saturday afternoon. In a video statement, Netanyahu declared that the military will resume intense fighting until Hamas is finally defeated. His statement follows Hamas's announcement that it would halt hostage releases indefinitely, citing Israeli violations of the ceasefire agreement. Under the deal, Hamas had been releasing Israeli hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners and detainees held in Israel. However, Hamas accused Israel of blocking Palestinian civilians from returning to northern Gaza and restricting humanitarian aid to the region. The situation remains volatile, with Israel prepared to resume military operations if Hamas does not comply with the agreement. And that concludes today's News on Bharat TV. For more updates on stories, visit our website or follow us on social media. I'm Anjali Swami, and we'll see you next time.